Bill O'Reilly was on Jon Stewart's The Daily Show yesterday. They were talking about a number of different types of privilege. First and foremost, white privilege. Now, if you've been following Bill O'Reilly, you know he doesn't believe in it. Or as he says, Talking Points does not believe in white privilege. Now, of course, we can't show you the video. You should go to that. But we are going to show some of the quotes of their back and forth. Was Jon Stewart able to convince Bill O'Reilly that white privilege is a thing and that it disadvantages minorities in America today?
Can I guess? No.
Shit, you read my notes. I know you do. You cheat. Jon Stewart says, you are carrying more of a burden as a black person in this country than a white person in this country. Bill says, collectively, yes, but not individually. They don't stop and frisk Wall Street bankers, even though they've done far more damage to the economy. There has been a systematized subjugation of the black community. Would you not agree that? That was then, this is now. Maybe you haven't figured out that there is no more slavery, no more Jim Crow, and the most powerful man in the world is a black American, and the most powerful woman in the world, Oprah Winfrey, is black. Being able to give people a free car does not make you the most powerful woman in the world. It sucks that we couldn't show that video. I hate the way copyright works in America. Go watch the full interview, not just the TV version, but the full online version. It's awesome. Let's talk.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly just doesn't get it. And the thing is, I don't think that Bill O'Reilly is a dumb guy. I actually think he's really smart. So I'm unsure as to whether or not he really believes what he's saying. Look, white privilege is not a difficult thing to understand, right? I love that Jon Stewart used the example of stop and frisk, because if you look at stop and frisk, the vast majority of people who were stopped and frisked were minorities, the majority of which were black individuals, right? So there's that one statistic there for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact statistic, but you look it up and it's jarring.
Yeah.
Another thing is when you look at the amount of, the rate of marijuana use among white people and black people, right? Black people and white people smoke marijuana at comparable rates, but black people are 4 times more likely to get arrested for marijuana possession. So that's an example, right?
Yeah.
White privilege means that as a white individual, you are given the benefit of the doubt by authorities, okay? You're not gonna be looked upon as someone who's a possible criminal, okay? You're not gonna be someone that people are intimidated by. You're not gonna be someone that people fear, right? Like, you're just not going to be harassed the same way minorities are harassed. That's not to say that, you as a white person did anything wrong. That's not to say that you as a white person didn't earn everything that you have in your life right now. I think a lot of people hear white privilege and they think that they were spoon-fed or that they were given things. But no, it just has to do with the system and how certain laws and how certain policies are enforced.
Yeah.
In a disproportionate way.
Yeah, every single word that you say, like that's actually perhaps the best vocalization of white privilege that I've heard. Everything that you said was totally true. And I know that for those of you who are watching the video, don't believe in white privilege, you've already posted your negative comment, but I would like to try to get you to delete it. You're saying there, you're sitting there and you're thinking, why are you calling me a racist? Why are you saying that I've done something bad? I haven't done anything bad. I had to work for what I have. The white person who smokes pot and doesn't get arrested is not a bad person. They didn't do anything wrong. They just received a benefit from society. They received, as Anna put it, the benefit of the doubt. If you're given a home loan at a lower interest rate than a black family, you're not a racist. You didn't do anything wrong, but you still benefited from white privilege. You're not doing anything wrong. We're not saying you're the problem. We're saying that society has been set up in a particular way, and the current way that it's set up tends to give white people advantages in dozens of different ways that they don't personally have to do a single thing for. That they're not responsible in an individual sense for the way things are. So stop feeling like we're attacking you. We're not. We're describing society. We're not describing you. We're not calling you anything.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with these types of discussions is people see it as an us versus them type situation, and it doesn't need to be that way, right? It's an issue. It's like a virus within our society with the way our system is set up. It's the same type of system that keeps the middle class and working class fighting against one another instead of focusing on the system that's keeping them in poverty, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar. There are parallels there. So instead of focusing in on, attacking someone because you think you're part of a team, focus on how this system is set up and why some people are at a disadvantage. Again, for the 50th time in this video, we're not blaming any specific person or a specific group of people. It's a thought process that needs to evolve.
Yeah, and I love the gotcha. So first we have a gotcha from Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly says, aha, I can prove that there's no white privilege. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to show you stats showing that on average, Asian families have a higher income than white families, which according to his stats is true. And he says that that means that white privilege can't exist. Bill O'Reilly, you're too smart in some sense to say something as stupid as that. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
White privilege does not mean that in every single way that you can possibly imagine, if you were to sit down and write a dissertation, that you're benefited in every way. If, as I was told from a very popular movie growing up, that white men can't jump, that doesn't mean they don't benefit from white privilege when it comes to things like loan interest rates and arrest rates. It doesn't mean that you're better off in every way. That is a bullshit gotcha. Another gotcha that is almost certainly going to show up in the comments multiple times in here is, oh yeah, well if you're privileged, tell that to a white homeless man. Is he so privileged? You're a moron. That's a stupid point to make. No, he is not privileged in comparison to every other person in the country, but you bet your ass he's advantaged and privileged over black homeless people, over Hispanic homeless people. You clean him up, you put a tie on him, he could very well get a job, but we know that if you do that with a Hispanic or a black person, their name will still hold them back in a society that advantages white people. So that's a stupid thing. Stop talking about the homeless people. Really fast, just Think Progress put together a couple of different examples of white privilege that have been shown in scientific both surveys, but more importantly, experiments that have been done. White men are massively overrepresented in the government. Despite making up just 31% of the population, they represent 65% of politicians. And if you don't think that they're doing whatever they can to benefit people that look and act and seem and live like them, then you don't know anything about America. A study in May found that online buyers are less willing to do business with black people, and when they do pay them, they pay them between 2 to 4% less than they would pay white people. Minority homeowners are less likely to get approved for a mortgage. 75% of African Americans with low credit scores were turned away, while only half of whites with low credit scores were. We've talked about on the Young Turks about the ads for iPhones having a black hand. People are less likely to buy them. We did a story on Monday of this week about how when you send a letter to a congressman asking for information on how you can register to vote, if you have a Hispanic name, you're significantly less likely to get a response from a Republican, and especially a Republican who supports voter ID laws. We can do a 2-hour show about studies that have been done that show the various ways that white privilege exists in America. It would make for a great show, but it wouldn't mean that you're personally a racist, but it does mean that white privilege is alive and well in America today.